The new look Group A touring cars at Eastern Creek for the first time, and the grid, well, it made Alan Jones smile a little.
It certainly did, Darryl. It's my new teammate Glenn Seaton on pole position with the new Falcon. Next to him, Jimmy Richards, first time out in the Commodore. On row 2, Larry Perkins in the old VL Commodore. Next to him, Peter Brock in the VN Commodore. Now, Reed put up a very good performance, as indeed did Pearson in Commodores. As you can see from here on in, we're probably Commodores all the way down. Stewart, Finnegan, row 4. Heffen and McCall, Commodores in row 5, and Laurie Donoghue in a Commodore, and Cotter in the sole BMW M3, bringing up row 6. Now we're just wondering if Noel is here pitting for Laurie.
Well, there's Larry Perkins in the office of the Holden now. A 9 exclusive, our heart chart. We'll be able to monitor the heartbeat of Larry Perkins as he circulates and goes around in this race. His point of view camera there. And of course his heart rate now jumping from 157 round 160, remembering that a normal rate is somewhere around 80, 90. Well, AJ, I know you're pretty excited, the Falcon, that you'll be sharing or a sister car with Glenn Seaton taking pole here. And a very interesting situation. This car has had a lot of development work in the hands of Glenn Seaton. You'll get your hands on it next week, and you must be pretty excited about that.
No, I certainly am. I'm going to have a test drive on Thursday at Amaroo Park, and I'm really looking forward to it. This engine in this car, by the way, was the same engine that was in it for Adelaide. He's done all the testing in it, and that's a real good tribute to his father, Bo, who builds a fantastic engine.
Now, the interesting situation, when the car's gridded up here on the dummy grid, this Falcon had a rousing reception from the crowd. 15 laps of this race, 58.95 kilometres. And the crowd really got behind it. They're doing it again now. They're chanting and yelling. Peter Brock also had a great reception as he pulled out the big Commodore. But Jim Richards had very little reaction when he drove up in his new car, which of course is now the Holden Commodore, number 2.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? I was actually waiting to see what reception they would give him, but they were quiet.
Here we go, set for a start. Who'll win the drag down to the first corner? Glenn Seaton on pole in the Falcon. Jimmy Richards in the brand new Fred Gibson Motorsport Commodore. The crowd on their feet. They've come to see the big cars, the new ones in action. Of course, quite a lot of the other names not present here at Eastern Creek, but this should be a real good point of the season. Brand new stock away. Power goes down. Brock. Oh, he did a really good start off the line, but won't be able to get through from there. Glenn Seaton's going to win the drag, I think. Yes, sir. And look at Jimmy Richards in the Winfield car in the second place. Brock's starting to muscle through already, though. Larry Perkins putting plenty of pressure on, too. Brock comes through and takes Richards into that corner there. Rounds and gets second place. So, Seaton out in front of him. Brock's at half a lose.
Hey, look at Reed. Trevor Reed did a really good start, and he was right up there, gave Brocky a biff up the backside. Hello, looks like Larry's had a biff too and has pushed the bodywork into the back right-hand tyre. That's a shame, because that'll ruin the tyre.
Larry Perkins coming around on the outside. It is Larry Perkins' heart rate up to 183 now as you watch out the windscreen of Larry Perkins' car. Remember, the normal heart rate around about 90. Look at it, fluctuating from 160 right up to 183.
Hey, look at Reed, though. I mean, I tell you, he's just hit the back of Perkins again. He is very quick in that car, but in all honesty, he's a little inconsistent and does have a tendency to make the odd mistake, but time will tell. You can see the back right-hand guard of Larry's car in on the tyres. I just hope that doesn't do real bad damage and make him have to have a pit stop, because that'd be a real shame. Hello. Jimmy going on the inside of Reed. Reed going a little bit wide. No, whoa, Finnegan. Oh, dear.
Finnegan has a 360 round, a sentiment track. Oh boy, all happening here in the Group A's, cars going everywhere. Well, it's all happened here, the new look Group A's. Glenn Seaton out in front after all of that drama with Brock getting a little tap and getting sideways. Look at the crowd here cheering on Seaton. Here's the lose.
Yeah, he just got on the old gas a bit too early, lost the back end, spun it around. Oh, nearly got collected. Big chair for Glenn Seaton as he came past that grandstand then, Darryl.
Oh, the Fort Holden battle lives again, no doubt about that. This Eastern Creek crowd are showing their colours. They're Ford people here at the moment. Brock in second place. Larry Perkins, that tyre seems to have scrubbed itself off the bodywork. At the moment, there is no smoke pouring off it, and that's good news for Larry. Seaton doing a great job in the Falcon, out in front at the moment. Brock a little way back. Can he make up the difference? Cars all over the circuit at the moment.
Yeah, that was one of the BMWs, I think. Looked like it had spun off onto the grass. There we go, Brocky coming through, using plenty of road. Larry Reed still up there in front of Jimmy Richards, going very well.
Jimmy Richards got caught in the pack, muscled his way up into second place, but then got caught in that melee.
There's Pearson in that product car. Very pretty paint job as we see the cars going up into this tight left-hander. No sooner are they through here, they've got to jump on the brakes into a really tight right-hand hairpin. Onto the brakes, nice and hard, nose down against the ground. See Jimmy coming up and having a look, taking a wider line, trying to get on the power maybe a little earlier coming out. No, he lost out then.
Well, Jimmy Richards has done a lot of the development work on this new Holden, and Fred Gibson elected to give him the first run of the car because Mark Skaife debuted the GTR in its first outing, so he thought it was only fair that Jimmy Richards gave the Holden its first outing. Of course, another car being built for Mark Skaife at the moment, so plenty of action to come your way. Richards busting his way down the straight. Can he get past Reed? Forcing his way through. Didn't practice as well as he would have liked. A brand new car out of the box. There's his point of view.
I thought he might have had a go at him under brakes, but no, he's just lost a little ground through there, actually. Reed's car seems to be handling really well.
So Reed doing a great job.
On the inside, look. Oh, no, a bit too late on the gas.
Beautifully prepared car, the one of Reed's, with the Lansvale smash repairs, the Dulux coloured car, beautifully turned out. In fact, all of the new touring cars look great in new livery. So Richards now goes for a spare inside. Locks up a brake too. Reed shuts the door on him though. This is the point of view from Richards, and he goes up the inside again.
Steve Reed is going very well indeed. He's driving fairly defensively, but that car looks really good. He's going very well. Keep in mind, of course, Jimmy Richards' car was only finished, I think, something like about a week ago, so great effort from Gibson Motorsport.
Early testing here at Eastern Creek throughout the week was in heavy rain, so they've really had no chance to sort the car out properly as Richards now puts his nose up behind Reed again. No avail though. This Holden's getting wider and wider of Reed's.
Big thing here too, Daryl, is a lot of the tyre manufacturers, and in particular Yokohama, really haven't been able to, or haven't had, a tyre for a big heavy car. So as we go into this race, about another 3 or 4 laps, it'll be just interesting to see what tyres hang on the best.
So Reed again holding Jimmy Richards out. Let's come back to the front. Glenn Seaton in the beautiful looking Falcon now down at the end of the straight, comes through the fast left-hand sweeper. Car looks nice and balanced.
Beautifully balanced. It's just doing everything right. Glenn's absolutely thrilled with the car. He said, Jonesy, you wait until you get behind the wheel of this thing, mate. You'll be wrapped.
Of course, had a setback in development at the Adelaide Grand Prix Group A race where he put it into the wall in a big way.
Well, this is a totally new car. The one that he put into the wall at Adelaide is now sitting out the back. This is a brand new car, and I suppose full credit to the Peter Jackson team because they only had this car down at Phillip Island for the first time last Wednesday. So for all intents and purposes, it's a new car, but they did have a lot of lessons learned of the other car, of course.
So Glenn Seaton has been doing a lot of testing, a lot of private development work, and it's starting to pay off. You can see that. Of course, he was very dominant here last year in the Ford Sierra, winning both heats.
Well, Glenn and his team really do a lot of testing. They're not shy to do a bit of testing, and they do their homework, and of course now we can see the results. And I know that Glenn's done a hell of a lot of work with Bridgestone, and Bridgestone really rate him very highly as a tyre tester. In fact, he tested some tyres that eventually the idea went over to Mercedes-Benz, and the feedback from the works Mercedes-Benz drivers were it was the best tyre they've ever felt. And they've even now put some of that technology into the Formula 3000 cars racing in Japan, so they hold him in very high esteem as a tyre test driver.
Larry Perkins now in third place. Remember, had that setback and the bodywork was rubbing on the tyre and sending out clouds of white smoke. That's all been cleared up now. His heart rate jumping up from 163, 187. You can see it just fluctuating as he throws this car around. Back to 187 again, Larry Perkins. Hard at work now from 157 up to 187. Wow. Working hard on the heart rate, exclusive to Nines Wide World of Sports, the heart chart. Jimmy Richards working pretty hard through that left-hand sweeper at the end of the straight too.
Yeah, Jimmy's car is moving around a lot. Yesterday I noticed that when the wet session started to come to an end, he changed rear springs, and that would suggest that the back's probably jumping around just a little bit more than what he would have liked.
Let's have a look at Jimmy Richards at work in the Commodore. You'll see him soaring away at the steering wheel, trying to keep that fine balance. Sits pretty comfortably in the car. You can see very close to the steering wheel.
See how relaxed Jim is. He really never gets too ruffled behind the wheel. He really is one of the great touring car drivers that we have, and of course in the wet he's unbelievable.
So finally
He's
he gets around Reed there with some nice driving. Oh, and I just saw Brock's car pulled up. Brock's had a problem, and at the side of the track has pulled up. So this battle has gone on. There's Peter Brock has pulled up. The crowd here have just seen that picture on the big screen. They've gone absolutely mad. The Ford fans are cheering. Larry Perkins looks pretty comfortable at the moment. That car didn't look like it was going to go 3 or 4 laps after. He was touched in that melee because mad clouds of smoke were just pouring off the rear of the car. The defending bodywork has since come adrift. There it is there. You can see it flapping away in the breeze. So he will obviously go to the stewards and see if he can talk about the tyres for the next heat, because I would think that tyre would have been pretty knocked about the way it was burning into the bodywork for maybe 2 or 3 laps. But Perkins just drove on through that and will be rewarded with a fair place.
Interesting to note that Glenn's father, Barry, and also Barry Benson went across to the States about 3 or 4 weeks ago to get some bits and pieces for this engine. And when they were telling the Americans what sort of horsepower they were getting out of the engine, the Americans said, hey, listen, if we ever start going back racing these engines, we'll come to you.
So Aussie technology still there in the forefront of motor racing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Barry Seaton was and still is a really good engine builder. And as I said before, this is the same engine that raced at Adelaide. They've done all their testing on it. And as you can see, it hasn't missed a beat. It's going really well.
So Glenn Seaton now off the end of the straight through the left-hander will come down here to the left-hander that tightens even further, make his way around a series of tight corners up over the bend. This is the last lap. We'll be very, very pleased with this. As I said, won the 2 heats last year to take the Triple Crown Series, and a flying start this time round. And the way the car's sitting on the circuit just looks beautiful. Balanced nicely, not moving around like the Holdens have been, and it looks a beautifully sorted motor car. Not as low to the ground as the Johnson car, I've noticed in the 2 times I've seen Dick's car run in Adelaide and in New Zealand. This car certainly not as close to the ground.
Well, it's certainly not as close as the original Johnson car, that's for sure. I mean, its bodywork was almost scraping on the ground, but that was just a different, perhaps, thought of preparation that Neil Lowe and the Johnson team had, and that subsequently wasn't accepted by Cams, and they had to go away and do another one. But, a little bit of a tweak from the Holden coming out of there.
So coming up to the finish line is Glenn Seaton. About 11 seconds in front of the field here, so a pretty comfortable win. Make his way around these few corners, come onto the main straight. Here he comes now, lines himself up, and he'll take round 1 of the Triple Crown Series here at Eastern Creek.
Look at that crowd standing up.
Stood up to the person here and given Glenn Seaton a fantastic reception. No doubt about it, the Ford fans out in force here today at Eastern Creek. Larry Perkins now makes his way down. So it's Ford first, Holden second. And Jimmy Richards will take 3rd place in the brand new Winfield Holden. So Ford first, Holden second and 3rd, and the crowd pretty happy with a Ford win here. Let's recap on the Group A touring car results. Glenn Seaton, really big win from him in the new Falcon. 1st place, Larry Perkins, a fighting drive in the Commodore 2nd. Jimmy Richards 3rd in his new Commodore. Steve Reed, brilliant run from him for 4th place. And of course, Bruce Stewart in another Commodore in the top 5. Alan Jones is with the winner, Glenn Seaton, pit side.
Well, Glenn Seaton, teammate, well done. Looked easy.
Really early in the race, Peter pushed me a little bit, and once he broke down, I sort of knocked it off a little bit to look after the tyres. But the car is fantastic. The boys at work have just done a brilliant job. We've spent a bit of time testing, and I think this year's looking good for both of us.
I hope so. The car looks really nice and flat on the ground. It doesn't move around anywhere as much as the Commodores. I mean, obviously you're very happy with the handling.
I am really. I spend a lot of time at high-speed circuits testing the car and trying to sort that side of it out. And every circuit we've been to, we've been as quick, if not quicker, than the Sierras. So I'm really looking forward to this year.
And towards the latter half of that heat, you back right off to save your brakes and tyres and so forth, so you're in good nick for the next one.
That's right. The next race is double points, so I sort of try to conserve the tyres at the end so we can come back. And through the week, we've been testing sort of 2-race strategy, and the tyres come back very well usually, so we're looking forward to it.
Great, well done, congratulations.
Thank you.